morning, parents. Thank you for being here. If you probably noticed on the schedule, we only have one coffee with the principal listed today. That is just because the team has very little time left to make sure all the final arrangements are made before we are back to school on Monday, and we'll talk a little bit about that. So we will do our best to be as perfect as we can with the information today so we can post this as a recording later on tonight for other families who were not able to attend. So there is a lot to cover. We're going to do our best to cover everything from arriving to school, getting food in school, our case management procedures, the dismissal, and then leave plenty of time for you to ask questions or share your concerns with us. Okay, it is a lot of information, and bear in mind, those of you who have been attending Coffee Principal with us knows that we've been saying that we were waiting for final approval from the district for many of these items, whether it was a schedule. I think Monday was the final day that we got a final approval for the schedule itself. And then we've been getting some last minute items from the district as well too. So it's one of the reasons why we could not finalize this 1, 2, 3 weeks ago. So this is mostly our finalized version of everything. And this is how we're going to open up the school with. So with that in mind, let's continue.
So school reopening calendar, basically the first week of school, and we're going to go into detail as to what the specific time frame will look like. But the first day of school will be April 26th, and our teachers, only staff members are to return to campus at that time. Teachers will have a quick check-in with your students for about 15 minutes during their advisory classes. And we have the times for you in a slide that's coming up right away. But April 27th, that Tuesday, grade 6 cohort H students will be returning. And April 28th, Wednesday, grade 6 cohort L students will be returning. On the 29th is pretty much our largest day where all grade levels will be returning, grade 6, 7, and 8, cohort H. On the 30th, we have grade 6, 7th, and 8th, cohort L returning. We can go to the next slide, Ms. Knapp. So the first day of school is that Monday. The Monday will be, hold on, I'm so sorry, there's a car alarm going off. But that Monday, it will be focused solely on staff planning and preparation. The teachers will have a virtual welcome with your students. Advisory F students will have their virtual welcome with the teachers from 8:30 to 8:45. And advisory H and L students will have a virtual check-in with their students from 9 to 9:15. Your advisory teachers will be posting the links onto the Schoology platform, and students can log in at that time. And again, Tuesday only cohort H, grade 6 starts. Wednesday, cohort L, grade 6 starts. Thursday are all grade levels cohort H, and Friday are all grade levels cohort L. So what does every single school day look like in terms of time? Students will be, if you are coming in person, this is the on-campus schedule. Every other Monday will be alternating. So Monday, May 3rd, we will start with periods 1, 3, 5. Then when they come in on Tuesdays and Thursdays, doors will be open for students starting at 8:30. After they do their temperature check, their daily pass check, students have the opportunity to have a breakfast. Once they have breakfast, they can go into their advisory classes. All classes will begin starting at 9 a.m. in person. At that time, the advisory teacher will be teaching one live lesson. Then from 9:30 to 10:40, it will be period 1. 10:50 to 12 will be period 3. 12:10 to 12:40 will be the second live instruction for the day. And again, during period 1 and period 3, students will be logging into their classes via Zoom. So they will be with the advisory teacher, but logging into their period classes on Zoom. Students will then be escorted to their lunch areas. 12:40 to 1:20 is their lunchtime. And we will end the school day from between 1:20 to 2:30. They will log into their last class for the day, and students will be dismissed to go home starting at 2:30. And we will have staggered dismissal times depending on the grade level. Again, on-campus learning, if you are coming Wednesday, Friday, it is the same exact schedule. It just depends on which cohort you are in. Cohort H are Tuesdays and Thursdays. Cohort Ls are Wednesdays and Fridays, with every other Monday alternating. Now, if your student participates in the online schedule, that is more than fine. Same thing, Mondays are alternating, except the only change is that all students will have to log in starting at 8:30. From 8:30 to 9 will be the advisory class, the live session that they have with the teacher via Zoom. Then 9:30 to 10:40, we follow the same exact schedule as students that are here on in person. It's either period 1 or period 2, depending on which day. 10:50 to 12 is either period 3 or 4, depending on the day. Except the only difference is from 12 to 1:20, you do have an extended break if you are learning from home. And we end the school day either with a period 5 or a period 6. So before you return to campus, what are some things that you must do? We just need to ensure that, again, students, they rest and they are fully aware that they are coming back to school. We don't want to surprise them that morning, right, parents? And ensure that we will ensure that they have their supplies ready for them. Each student will be given a student kit, headphones such as these, little pencil cases with individual supplies of crayons, color pencils, and pens, so that students will not have to share any supplies with one another. Students will be supplied with individual work notebooks. And again, if they have any other concerns or questions, they do have the teacher that they can ask. And of course, we're following the same protocols in terms of raising their hands and asking for support as needed. Next slide, Ms. Knapp. Dr. Martinez, did you want to speak about the school readiness report card?
Thank you. The district had made an announcement that you would be able to access what's called a school readiness report card, and all schools have been asked to go online and check off everything that we've done to ensure that there is a safe campus. And so we've made sure that everyone has done training with both students and staff on the use of face masks. We talked about physical distancing. We talked about the importance of the small, consistent cohorts and not mixing the cohorts, and we'll talk a little bit about that on our maps. We modified all the classrooms. The staff has been working very hard, including weekends, to make sure that there's adequate 6-foot spacing or more in each classroom. Hand washing and hygiene will be a priority. We're making sure that all the restrooms have enough supplies and that the classrooms have enough hand sanitizer as needed. Our air quality, our units have been running. We've been checking them. We've been changing the HEPA filters on them. We want to make sure that that is working. As of right now, all of them are working. We do not have any issues with them not working. Cleaning and disinfecting is taking place right now at the school. And you might have seen a news report. I believe the district is looking for, has opened up a number of jobs for this task. They're trying to get as many staff members on sites to help us disinfect as frequently as possible. Our health screening, everyone will be screened at the door, including staff. Anyone who does not have a negative COVID-19 test will not be allowed on campus, or anyone that does not pass the daily health pass checklist will not be allowed on campus. And of course, we have procedures to follow that, and we call that case management procedures. And we'll go over that a little bit with you during our maps. We want to make sure that every classroom and every staff member has adequate PPE and cleaning supplies. So like masks, face shields, and things like that. We will have extras. So if something happens with your child that doesn't work right or doesn't fit right, we can offer masks at school. So we will have extra supplies. And when this first started out, we were one of the first few schools that started shopping early to make sure that we had adequate supplies. So for now, we have adequate supplies for that. We've been doing a lot of staff training for our teachers for safety, for making sure that students know how to use the restroom if needed, know how to go to a nurse if needed, and know how to when and where we're going to eat when we're offered breakfast, lunch, and then the afternoon snacks, which we'll talk about in a little bit. COVID testing and contact tracing. That's really the big point of all of this that we're doing to open up. And we'll go over at the maps. I think the maps will help us make it easier to show you how the testing and the contact tracing will work. And then LAUSD did a great job of offering all of our teachers time to go and get vaccinated. And so there was a big push for all of our staff to be vaccinated and have adequate time after the vaccine to develop the immunity and to be on site. So a lot has taken place in the last month or two since they announced that we were going to open up. And so I do believe we are ready to open. All right, Missy, go ahead.
So quickly, we wanted to show you a video that LA Unified has prepared in terms of the day in the life of a student.
Hi, I'm Mia, and I'm in 2nd grade. I'm really excited about going back to school. I know that lots of people have questions about what it will be like. My friends and I got to visit our school, and we made a video about our day. Some of my friends took the bus. When they got on the bus, someone took their temperature and asked them if they were feeling okay, to make sure everyone on the bus was safe. Of course, no matter how we got to school, everyone was wearing a mask. When we got to school, we all lined up at the entrance. We're supposed to stay 6 feet apart, and school made it easy by putting stickers on the ground telling us where to stand. When it was my turn, the person at the gate asked me if I agreed with what it said on the sign. Then I showed him my daily pass and he took my temperature. It only took a few seconds. I walked down the path to get to my class. I saw some of my friends going to their classes too. There were cones and lines and arrows on the pathway to make sure that I stayed on the right side and went the right direction. When I got to my classroom, my teacher brought us in one at a time and showed us where to sit. There weren't as many desks in the classroom as usual, and they were farther apart. And we each got our own supplies. It was really great to see my teacher and friends in person and not on Zoom. After a little while, we got to go to recess. I stayed with my class and we played outside. Before I went back to class, I went to use the restroom. Only a couple of us could go in at a time. Some of the stalls were closed and the sinks were blocked off, so only 2 of us could wash our hands or use the bathroom at a time. Then we went back to class and kept learning. When it was time to go, my teacher called each of us up to get our lunch. It was like when we had breakfast in the classroom, but everything was already in a bag for us. Then he let us leave, one at a time. Some of my friends went home and some went to the after-school program. I went to the after-school program and it was really fun. I ate my lunch there. They helped me with my homework and we played. My dad came to get me at the end of the day. I had so much fun. I can't wait for school to start.
Thank you, Ms. Knapp, but we must clarify one difference in secondary versus elementary. For secondary, because the school day ends at 2:30, we will not be on the bell. It's not we, but Beyond the Pill or at the after-school partner program that we partner with, they will not be able to offer any extended care beyond 2:30. Okay, and so that's the one distinction that we have to clarify between elementary and secondary schools. Obviously, this video was designed specifically for elementary parents and families. Ms. Knapp, next slide.
If I can also add, Parents, when you have to pick up your child, that means you have to pick them up and they have to go home. Please do not tell your child to go into the neighborhood and wait for you to pick them up later at 3 or whatever time. The only official pickup and drop off for students is the front of the school. And again, if for whatever reason the schedule does not work out where you cannot pick up your child, the alternative to that will be returning back to a hybrid, an online learning experience. But hopefully we can work that out. Again, there are no exceptions to it because that's a program that we are not running. So Beyond the Bell does not run after school childcare for students that are in a hybrid. Now there is childcare, but we'll talk about that separately right now, and we'll explain the difference for that. So again, all students are to return home. Please do not have them wait in the neighborhood or down the street in one of the store areas or something like that. Please, we want to make sure they're safe. They should be picked up right away, or they should go home the way that you allow them to go home. If you have any questions on that, please reach out to one of the administrators. That is an important thing because once the students are outside, we can't control the social distancing and the grouping and the gathering and all that. So we want to make sure students are safe and are not gathering outside after school in areas. Thank you.
Yes, and we want to be mindful of the neighbors, especially, that's our immediate neighbors surrounding John Burroughs Middle School. Again, having us back on campus is going to be an adjustment for everyone. So we would appreciate your support, parents. So Mr. Cota, at this time, if you can go over in terms of protocols of entering campus and how that will look like.
Thank you, Ms. Lee. While I bring up the maps, I just want to remind you because I don't have sharing capabilities. If I can get that, please. Oh, there we go. Just with Beyond the Bell, remember it is 2:30. If they're in their cohort day, they need to go home, and we will be going over some more information for Beyond the Bell in a few minutes. So please bear with us. So this is the morning entry map again. Just reminder, as Dr. Martinez was going over, you need to make sure that you have your daily pass. You need to make sure that you do your weekly COVID test. You should have had a baseline test already, and the test that you are getting this week is the one that will allow you or your child to attend school starting next week. Now, when you get to school, and again, students will not be allowed to come onto campus until starting 8:30. Between 6:30 and 8 o'clock, 8:15, we are going to be checking in our staff. Then we need to pivot over to our student entry points, and there are 3. The main doors are in front of school. You will line up along McCadden, and if we need to, around the corner on 6th Street. Entrance number 2 is going to be over by the auditorium double gate. You will line up along McCadden going south towards the teacher parking lot entrance. And the last entrance will be on 6th Street, what we call the breezeway between North and Main buildings. And you will line up again on 6th Street going east towards June Street. So those are the lineup points. I know somebody asked earlier if the students arrive before 8:30, can they line up? Yes, they can line up, but they're going to be waiting there until we can let them in, which again, student entrance starts at 8:30. So those are the entry points. We will also have an entry point for our buses, which is going to be over by the cafeteria area. And I'm going to go over what the students who ride the bus will be doing on our next map. Are there any questions on the entry points? I'm not paying attention to the Q&A right now. No? Okay.
Mr. Cota, should we go over what happens if they don't pass the screening? Do you want me to go through that?
Yes. So what happens if, say that you did get a daily pass, but when the student gets here, when we take their temperature, because that's one of the things we're going to do is we're going to check that QR code that you get. And remember, that's the other thing I wanted to make sure you understand. The daily pass, the word daily means every day. So every day you need to get that daily pass before you leave home. You should process that daily pass. I believe we're going to go over how to do that a little later on. but please make sure that you provide your student that QR code. That QR code, we scan it, but it just tells us the student is allowed to be on campus. The next thing we do is we do a temperature check. If the student has a fever of 100 or higher, we need to make sure that we provide a place. And there's two areas up here on the map. I hope you can see where I'm pointing. The isolation and quarantine areas. When students do not pass the temperature check, we will wait a few minutes and try the temperature again. But if they don't pass that second time, they will be escorted through outside the buildings. We will not go into the buildings. More than likely, we will walk in through one of the other bed gates. We have several. Keep them out of the buildings and away from other students or personnel, and escort them to either the isolation or quarantine areas, depending on their condition. So if they are displaying COVID symptoms and they have a temperature, they will be taken to one area. If they are just displaying a high temperature but no other COVID symptoms, they will be escorted to another area. At that point, we will make sure an administrator will escort your student, your child, to one of the areas. We will call the parent and have the parent come pick them up, because they will not be able to remain on campus. They will not be able to attend class or participate in lunch or any other activity. We must have that student picked up, and it starts a very involved process of contact tracing. If they were on the bus, if they were on the metro, we need to start all that paperwork. And then I will start over in the isolation or quarantine areas by an administrator. Is that enough, Dr. Martinez, or should I go into more detail?
Let me go into more detail because I just noticed a couple more questions. So we are not assigning grade levels to each of these entrances, because one of the things is we realize with our families, they have different ways of getting to school. Some families walk, and some come on a metro, others come in the car. So it is based on whatever's convenient for you, depending on how you're getting to school. We will be monitoring the line so that if one line's shorter than the other, we'll ask people to walk over to the next line. We want to make sure that we are efficiently checking and scanning students and getting them in on a timely manner. I think there was a couple of questions in here about us going out to the cars and doing the scanning. Unfortunately, we do not have the staff to initiate another line like that. In a moment, we're going to show you why, because at the same time that this is going on, we are actually going to be running an indoor eating area, which requires even more staff as well, too, to make sure students are being monitored. So unfortunately, no, we will not be doing drive-up temperature checks. So your child will have to get in line. And the goal is, if your child does not pass the screening for whatever reason, and you're there with your child, we will explain to you why, and hopefully you can return home with your child. But if the child is by themselves, then again, as Mr. Cota said, we will move them over to the isolation area, call you, and the expectation is that within the hour you need to pick up your child. If you notice over here on the lower right-hand side, we moved a nurse station to be a little bit more over here towards the right-hand side of the map, so that we can have the nurse a little closer to potentially students that are going to be ill, and we want to make sure that they are receiving the proper care that they need.
Yes, thank you for reminding me, Dr. Martinez. It will be right over here in the girls' PE office area to be closer to the isolation and quarantine area. Thank you for that reminder. Go ahead.
Okay, I think I'm quickly looking at that before we move on. Nope, I think that's it. That covers it. Let's move on.
Okay, so as Dr. Martinez was saying, the other thing that's happening pretty much at the same time as we're letting students in, because we will have tables set up near the entry points for those students who want to participate in the breakfast. We will have 3 or 4 different areas where students will be able to eat their breakfast when they come in. So if they are interested, they can pick up a breakfast, and we will escort them or point them towards the lunch, the breakfast areas that we will be using. Sorry, I forgot to remove this one. This one away. So we will be providing 2 large areas for breakfast. This area over here, as of right now, it will hopefully be for the students who are riding the buses, because the buses, we will be checking in students through this gate here and sending the students into their breakfast area if they want to eat breakfast here. If not, the expectation is that students will go straight to their classrooms. And I know for you sixth graders, I saw a question earlier, will the students be told where to go if they don't know where their classroom is? Yes, we will have personnel posted throughout campus assisting our students and telling them where their advisory classroom is, so they can go straight to their classroom either after eating their breakfast or if they don't want breakfast, right away when they enter. Are there any questions on the breakfast, which is at the same time, again, at the same time as we're letting students in, I need to provide supervision in these areas as well for breakfast. Are there any questions on that?
Yes, and so if I can make it clear again, your child, as they're being scanned at the entrances, will be offered a breakfast in the classroom bag. So your child can receive a bag of breakfast and walk over to an outdoor dining area to eat. And we're going to give all students up until 9 o'clock to do that. But if your child says, no, I don't want to, and declines the breakfast bag, your child will be instructed to go report directly to their advisory period.
Okay, and then the other two maps that I want to show you are the lunchtime map, which again, we have several areas, again, for social distancing guidelines. And we wanted to make sure that everybody was safe. We set up several areas with tents, tables, and chairs. And I believe later on in the presentation, you'll be able to see some of these areas, what they're going to look like. So these areas, again, will be for lunchtime. Each area will have teachers, advisory teachers assigned to them so that we can try to keep the social distancing guidelines as well as contact tracing an easier job for us, because if anything happens, we need to make sure that we can trace everybody that that person may have had contact with. And so we will be assigning teachers to each area. So these are the 8 areas throughout campus where students will be having lunch. Are there any questions on that? Okay, the last map, and I'm sorry, I keep adding maps and I keep forgetting which one is which. I believe is this one is my dismissal map. And again, for 6th grade on Tuesday and Wednesday, I don't foresee it being an issue. We will have 2 exits. Right now is the main doors and the auditorium gate. We will open up. We will more than likely do some kind of a staggered dismissal to avoid, again, any long lines or any crowding, social distancing guidelines, and safety. And so these are going to be the exits for my 6th graders, because I am the 6th grade administrator. Parents, you will be able to pick up your students out in front of school on Tuesday and or Wednesday. If your cohort H is Tuesday, if your cohort L is Wednesday. So you can pick them up out in front of school. Our biggest challenge, as someone said earlier, is going to be on Thursday when we have all 3 grade levels. And so I, right now, am foreseeing that if we need to open up a 3rd exit, we may be opening up these exits over on the off of Wilshire, which lead out to Wilshire. So if your student, for example, rides Metro, this might be a good exit. These might be good exits for them because the bus stops are right up on Wilshire. If they ride the Metro on 3rd, they may want to utilize one of the other exits. But these are going to be the exits for dismissal. Are there any questions on dismissal?
If I can add a little bit while we wait for questions, parents, the dismissal part is going to be a little bit of a challenge for us because one, we want to make sure that we have adequate spacing among students when they leave, but many students go home in different ways, right? Some of them go on a metro, they go on metro on Wilshire, or they go up on 3rd Street. Some students walk home, and some students walk home going eastbound or westbound or north or south. And then, of course, parents can pick up their child with cars. So the students are spread out throughout the campus. And so what we're going to do the first week is we're going to take a survey to figure out how many students are walking, getting picked up, and in which direction they need to go, because we will be adjusting the gates if we need to open more gates, if we need to close gates, or if we need to instruct some classes to exit along the north building area versus the field. Again, we want to make sure that we avoid multiple classes walking into each other, and we can't hold them for too long after school either. Again, and again, the challenge we have is we can't control whether students are going to start gathering in groups after school, because again, once we dismiss, we need to turn around, close the school, and start cleaning it for the next day, making sure supplies are available. And it's a big task because every single classroom is being used. So please understand that. Be patient with us the first week for both arrival and leaving school. But we will adjust. We will take any feedback that parents present, students present, staff present to adjust and make this easier for us as we open up.
And thank you, Dr. Martinez. And one thing, I don't know if it is mentioned, I don't think I heard it yet, but we are, I believe we are the largest secondary school on the West, if I'm not mistaken, Dr. Martinez, that's opening in terms of numbers.
That is correct. We are amongst our community of schools. We are the second largest, only by a few students. There's an elementary school. As you heard, a lot of the elementary schools have a large number of their students returning. But for middle school, we're very large. And we'll show you the numbers right now. And although you may not think it may not look a lot, according to the CDC guidance, we cannot exceed more than 25% operating capacity. So, but we're well below that. And we'll share with you number of students are attending, and it will change. We'll have some families that probably hear about our school and think it's safer and will send students, and some students may not like how it's operating and may not want to come back. So those numbers are going to fluctuate. So we'll share with you a graph to show you a number of students that will be on campus. And well, I'll continue when we get to that graph. Thank you.
I do see one question in the Q&A. Are the maps, everything that we have will be posted on our website. I'm foreseeing the map to be up later today. I'm still finalizing the supervision personnel that I'm going to assign to each area. So that's the last thing I need to add to this map. And it will be posted so that if you want to download it, somebody asked if the students can be given copies. Probably, go ahead, Dr. Martinez.
If I may, parents, we are concerned about theft. Especially we have a lot of equipment set up to facilitate this as an easier process. So we're going to think it through. I think for sure we should post the arrival map so everyone knows where the stations are. But parents, give us a moment to consider those possibilities. We don't want to advertise that we have equipment spread out all over the place. So that might be something for consideration, please. Do know that what we share, we think is important. But again, we also have to be considerate that we have a lot of equipment and the school does occasionally get broken into, and we want to make sure that we protect not only the equipment that we purchased for your child, but all the hours of planning and preparation that went in to set up our school to be ready for your child. So we will post what we think is appropriate.
I can post the arrival and dismissal map separately, so that's not a problem.
Okay.
Just so you can plan accordingly. Okay, I think I'm done. Then, yeah, I don't.
Thank you, Mr. Cota. Ms. Knapp, if we can re-share the PowerPoint really quickly. We just have a couple more items that we need to review before we end the meeting this morning. So as Dr. Martinez and Mr. Cota both shared, we do have to follow social distancing protocols. If you notice, our leadership team members are very happy to be back in the classroom. But I can already tell you, there is one group of students in the side that should not, or they're too close together. So parents, if you can identify, this is Mr. Choi over here and Ms. An. So they're kind of like breaking the rules. So we would obviously have to have that student move towards the back of the classroom. Okay, next slide, Ms. Knapp. Again, proper hand hygiene is expected throughout the campus. We will have these hand sanitizer stations pretty much everywhere. If a teacher wants one in their classroom, we have enough to offer it for every single classroom. So again, students will be expected to utilize this as they see fit throughout the day. And then again, frequent hand washing will be an expectation, and we will not only verbally remind students, but again, as you know, we're coming in from supervision, reminding students to wash their hands and making sure that sanitizing stations are available before students have lunch. Parents, if you can just do us a quick favor, because students will be utilizing water bottles, please have name the water, put their student's name on the water bottle. That would be very, very helpful. At the end of the year, you should see how many water bottles we have in the lost and found area. So again, water fountains will not be utilized throughout the campus. However, if your student is thirsty and they forgot their water bottle, we do have individual water bottles available for students. So no need to fret. Again, this is how some of our stations look like in terms of lunch. We are setting up tents all over the campus, and that's what Dr. Martinez and the entire staff is concerned about. We don't want to advertise that we have all this equipment all over campus. So hence the reason why we may be posting the morning and afternoon maps, but maybe not the lunch maps. Again, some more pictures. And again, students will be cohorted together to maintain social distancing guidelines. And again, students are at individual tables. And then this is Mr. Kota, making sure that the tables are of quality. This is one of our isolation tents that we will have available. Be advised that we will be adding some walls to the tents just to maintain some privacy for our students. All right, now Beyond the Bell. Dr. Martinez and Mr. Kota, did you want to speak to the Beyond the Bell program and how it's changed?
Well, okay, let me go ahead. So, parents, on the day that your child does not go in hybrid, in other words, the day that you're not going to see their advisory teacher on their off days, you can apply for childcare. So, let's say your child is on a hybrid cohort that goes Tuesdays and Thursdays. Well, they're not to be scheduled on campus on Wednesday and Friday, but that day you can select childcare through the Beyond the Bell program. And I believe they run from 8 to 4. We set aside some classrooms for those students who need that childcare, but it's not Beyond the Bell the usual way it runs, and meaning that they will also be instructed to have their child pull out their iPad. They will be monitored in the classroom, and they will be zooming in from the Beyond the Bell program as they're being monitored. So there won't be any recess. I mean, they will have lunch. But other than that, they won't be resuming their normal activities of letting students out to play or participating in other programs. They will be zooming in from those classrooms with Beyond the Bell supervision staff monitoring them. And for that, you have to apply, and we're working on a plan to distribute those applications to all of our students or families on the first couple of days. You have to return it, and then you just return it back to the school, and they will process it, and they will contact you and let you know as to when you can start. Again, that's through the Beyond the Bell program. It's not on the days where your child is in attendance for the hybrid when they're meeting with their advisory period teacher. I'll pause right there. Go ahead,
And
Kota.
the application is posted on our website already. So if you want to be proactive and fill it out ahead of time and bring it in on that first day, you definitely can. It is posted on the website under the reopening resources tab.
I want to make, I guess, answer a question here. The best way to communicate with us right now, because we're in so many different places. People are across the campus, they're in their office, they're out of their offices, they're making runs, we're buying things, materials for the school. The best way to get to us is the email. And it's something that before I went on my leave, I wanted to make sure that we provided a structure to our community. If you remember the early Coffee with the Principals, we established everything from the administrators, the counselors, the coordinators. We provided you with the emails and all of that so that we can facilitate communicating with each other. So you can do the phone, but again, you probably won't catch someone because again, we're running and that message has to be relayed. the best way is to just simply write an email to us, depending on the subject. If you don't know who to direct it to, just any of the administrators, and the administrators will get back to you, or will delegate that email to whoever it needs to be. Thank you.
Notice a lot of parents have their hands up. Webinar is not ideal for asking questions. The only way we can answer your questions is if you can pose your questions in the Q&A box. So please type up your questions in the Q&A box and we will be happy to answer them for you. Okay, next slide, Ms. Snap, next slide, because the program selection survey is no longer active, parents. So be advised, if you do choose to change your option, or your in terms of either from going hybrid back to online or online into hybrid, please email your grade level counselors and we will have a slide for you in terms of who your grade level counselors are. So Ms. Armendariz, if you wanted to share our attendance or confirmed attendance for the first week of school.
Hello, parents. So good morning. As you can tell, based on this graph, we have our 6th grade cohorts that will be beginning next week. They will be the first ones that will be coming onto the site. And so on April 27th, we have cohort H. So if your child is a 6th grader in cohort H, they will be expected to return to the site if they are in the hybrid model. And so right now we have an approximate number of 50 students who have reported that they will be coming in the hybrid model cohort H. As I think Dr. Martinez and the rest of the team have noted before, we are seeing some fluctuations as people are changing their minds. Please, again, make sure that you're letting us know via the counselors if that is the case for you as well. On the Wednesday, which is April 28th, we have cohort L. So once again, cohort L will be the one reporting to the site. So as you can tell there, again, very similar number as to the Tuesday group. It's just about 45 students. And as we pointed out before, we know that our 6th graders will be needing a lot of help on those days. And so there will be staff here to advise kids on where to go, what the protocols are. We will have plenty of people who can assist and answer any questions that they may have. We have, as Ms. Lee has pointed out before, these very fabulous yellow vests. So you can always tell your 6th grader, find somebody in a yellow vest and they'll be able to answer your question. Now, as you can tell, on Thursday, April 29th is when we have basically a big group of kids who will be on the site. This will be the 6th graders, 7th graders, and 8th graders in cohort H. So once again, on that day, we have 6th, 7th, and 8th graders who are in cohort H. Those will be the students who will be reporting on April 29th. And then a slightly lower number for the Friday cohort, which is the cohort L. Again, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders coming on Friday, April 30th, cohort L. We will be posting information for the following week because, again, this is a slightly unique schedule just for purposes of the return to campus that first week. And again, please make sure you are checking our website, social media, so that you know kind of what's happening and what's going on in terms of that's the schedule for the following week. And I don't know if there were any questions around the schedule that we want to address. Dr. Martinez, I did see a question before from a parent who was saying, what can I do to make so that my kid can come to school every day? And so I just want to be clear that the hybrid program, it is hybrid. By essence, it is a mix, right? It is not going to be a fully everyday in-person program. It is still just a couple of days a week. Depending on the alternating Monday, it will be 2 to 3 days a week. So again, hybrid does not mean every day in school. It means a few days on campus in school. I don't know if there's another question we wanted to answer.
And actually, to supplement that, that's where the Beyond the Bell program comes in. So when your child is not scheduled to be on campus, those off days, you can apply for Beyond the Bell childcare, and you can technically have your child on campus every day, but it won't be in the advisory period. They will be with the Beyond the Bell staff members.
And a reminder, parents, this is pretty much the schedule for all secondary students, schools, so all middle schools and all high schools.
So parents, I hope this, we've covered a lot of material with you. I think the way the schedule's set up, we know that our 6th graders are new. We want to make sure that we're very welcoming. We're going to make sure that they know where to go. If you can help us talk to them about them being patient, being flexible, and we have 2 days where there are very small number of students compared to the rest of the days, and then of course the numbers grow as we go into the week, and those numbers can change. Like I said, it could go up or down or stay the same, and we'll make the adjustments as we go along.
There is one question I'd like to address because I know it's more than one person who might have the same question. You can have outside agency COVID test results. You can upload them, same location as making an appointment for a test, but those results can take anywhere from 3 to 5 days to upload in some cases. If you took one and you uploaded it and it's still not showing on Tuesday when the student may be back, bring a hard copy of that negative test results that covers those 7 days, and we will deal with it here. But try to upload it. It's easier if it's up on the website and you get a daily pass, but we will take a hard copy if that's happening to you.
In the next couple of slides, we'll be going over the daily pass. So Ms. Knapp, can you go ahead? Oh, before that, again, for any program selection changes, please email your grade level counselors. This PowerPoint will also be posted on our website. Mr. Lee is our phenomenal 8th grade counselor. Ms. Virginia Kwan is our exceptional 7th grade counselor. And Mr. Choi is our amazing 6th grade counselor. So Mr. Kota, as he mentioned, please, if you still need to schedule your child's COVID test, you can do so at dailypass.lausd.net. But I'm gonna tell you now, parents, as a parent myself, it's been real difficult, and I'm an LAUSD employee. So all I know is I was struggling. So basically what I did was I took my child to an LAUSD testing site. And what they're doing now is they're taking walk-ins. The scheduling program has been just really awful this week. So again, even our staff members just walked in this morning, and within the hour, they were able to get their COVID tests and they were able to walk out. And again, their testing centers apparently are open 7 days a week currently from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. I would suggest that you can call the hotline, but you just be prepared to wait, because as a parent, I had to call the hotline, and it took over half an hour or up to an hour to get a hold of someone. So the best way is to, again, dailypass.lausd.net. You can upload your test results there. You can book your appointment there as well. But I would suggest the walk-in. Ms. Armendariz wanted us to remind all of our incoming 7th grade students about TDAP immunizations and how they have to be updated.
Thank you. Yes. And you should have received a message as well. And again, we appreciate your patience because, we send a lot of messages out. So we do appreciate if you can, listen to that message. It's got a lot of important information. If it's saying, this is a message from John Burroughs, we really want you to make note of those messages. If your child still was missing immunizations, you would have received a message on behalf of our nurse, Ms. Graves. And so any questions or concerns around whether or not your Ms. Graves received the proof of immunization, you can email her. I'll put her email address, in the chat in a moment so that you have it. But again, any questions you have, make sure we get that cleared up. It's very important that students who will be on campus be cleared for their immunizations. Thank you.
If I can say something, I know that one of the problems we're anticipating is that potentially not all the COVID-19 test results may be uploaded. So that is going to be a problem. And unfortunately, we can't let a student in without that. So it's possible, if you're willing to have your child, if you're with your child, you can bring a copy of your results. If we can see that there is a result. I did see, as a principal, we did receive some guidance on being able to review the note that says you took a COVID-19 test. There's certain requirements. There's certain type of tests that only the district will require. So we can certainly try to do that. But if your child does not pass that daily pass and doesn't have that COVID-19 test uploaded, then we will not allow entry to the student, and we'll more than likely call you back to come and pick up your child.
And I just want to clarify something, Dr. Martinez, because I saw one question. Just be aware, parents, right now, our personnel, we don't have the personnel to be able to allow parents to come in and do visits and things like that. The expectation is that you will drop off your student in the morning. We will let them in and we will take really good care of them once they're here, but we just don't have the personnel or the space to be able to allow parents to come in right now at the moment. Okay.
Thank you. Ms. Knapp, if we can, I believe we only have a couple more slides, correct? Oh, if you can go back really quickly. The parent portal is very, very important. This is where you will have to access your child's daily pass. And again, even though I'm an LAUSD employee, I had to log in through my daughter's, the parent portal account to get a daily pass for my student. So very important, if you do not have your password, if you don't know how to set it up, please email Ms. Echeverria. Ms. Echeverria, can you say hello one more time? So that they can see you. That's how the webinar works. Is Ms. Echeverria here?
Hello, parents, and I put my email on my tile as well in case you need it, and I'll put it in the chat as well.
Thank you, Ms. Echeverria. Again, email Ms. Echeverria if you need your parent portal PIN number. All right, next, Ms. Knapp. And again, parents, those of you who have already selected the hybrid program survey, your next step will be to make sure that you have a negative COVID test in place. And to do so, please register for the parent portal. All right, and again, if you have any further questions or concerns, email works best. Please contact your grade level administrator or grade level counselor at this time. Dr. Martinez mentioned we are trying to answer any and every call, but it's been real difficult because all of us are running around campus, trying to get the classrooms ready, trying to get just the facilities ready for, opening. And we tremendously miss the students. I realize not seeing the students on a daily basis, that has always been the best part of my job. So I am looking forward to having everyone back. However, we just want to make sure that we have everyone back in the safest possible way. All right, Dr. Martinez, any last words?
Well, parents, now's the time. Give us some input, some feedback. I hope, as Ms. Lee said, as a parent, both educators and parents, we want to make sure our efforts are going into making the school as safe as possible for your child. We want to make sure that we haven't missed anything. And so if you have a few minutes, please share your thoughts and comments with us. Again, I don't know if Ms. Knapp can do it, but your child does get a reminder on Schoology on their schedule for the day. Ms. Knapp's been doing that for a while with our students. I saw 1 or 2 questions about, will students get reminded of what schedule they follow on a day? Ms. Knapp, I don't know if you can show a sample of a Schoology message that you sent out, but we will be sending out messages on a daily basis for your child so they can monitor and see when they have to log on and the schedule. So we are doing our best to make sure that we eliminate as much confusion as we can. But do know with an endeavor like this that's never been done before, we're basically opening a school with COVID-19 procedures and a triage center and everything. It's the first time for many of us, for public schools that I know of for recent memory. So be patient. There will probably be mistakes that are made, but we're trying to eliminate that, and we're going to strengthen our procedures. But for sure, we're not sacrificing on safety procedures. Those are non-negotiable items, including teachers. If teachers don't pass the daily pass, they will not be allowed on campus as well too. So those are safety is not an item that we are letting our guard down. Ms. Knapp, do you have a sample to show them?
Yes, I do, Dr. Martinez. Miss Suh and I will be sharing that duty moving forward. So she posted this morning, as you can see, And so we put up reminders, and then we put up the schedule. And then next week, when the schedule changes, we will have an online version and an in-person version, so students can follow their schedule right along.
Thank you, Ms. Knapp. All right, so let's give our parents a few more minutes to ask questions. I'm going to go through the chat area here. I do want to clarify another item. For the first couple of days for dismissal, it's going to be controlled, meaning that we are, depending on number of students and where they're concentrated, we will designate the areas that they exit. One of the reasons we want to do surveys is because we realize that some students need to go on the 3rd Street side versus the Wilshire side, but we won't know until we start asking the questions to the students exactly which way do you need to go. We will do our best to allow them to leave the first couple of days the area that's best for them, but that will take some time for us to coordinate it again, because we do not want students clumping up, and as you know, it's going to be difficult outdoors to try to control that spacing and properly wearing a mask. I was hoping to show a video on the importance of the mask, parents. If you bear with me, I think it's really important. If we can bring up that video, one of the things I've been telling the staff here is that, and the students, we had a meeting with the students, is that everything that's in place is important, but there's one particular thing that I think all of us have a part in, and that's the appropriate wearing of a face mask. And studies have been shown to show you what exactly it does. And I don't know if we have that video to share with our parents to see why it's really important to talk to your child to make sure that they are properly wearing a mask. We show them a video. I don't know if we have that as well too to share, but do we have that?
Yes, I do. I'll
Okay.
get it on right now.
And I think the CDC video is short too, right? We can show that one too?
Yes, sir. I'm actually showing the CDC video first.
Excellent.
Know how to wear your face mask correctly. First, wash your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds, or use hand sanitizer that contains at least 60% alcohol. Put your face mask over your nose and mouth and secure it under your chin. If the mask has loops, hook them around your ears. If it has ties, secure them at the base of your neck and crown of your head. Make sure you can breathe easily. Remove your mask carefully. Untie the straps or unhook the loops from your ears and pull the mask away from your face without touching the front of your mask. Don't touch your eyes, nose, or mouth when taking off your mask. Wash your hands for at least 20 seconds immediately after removing your mask, or use hand sanitizer that contains at least 60% alcohol. Learn more at cdc.gov/coronavirus and coronavirus.gov.
So that has been shared with our faculty and our students, and now we've shared it with you. So we've completed a cycle of sharing. And if you can please go over that with your child to make sure that we're using proper techniques on the proper wearing a mask. And then this next video shows you how important a basic mask is in this prevention of COVID-19.
Now I'm recording.
Stay healthy.
Great,
Stay healthy.
great. Less loud.
Stay healthy.
Good.
Are you recording?
Yeah.
Stay healthy.
Louder.
Stay healthy.
Louder.
Stay healthy.
Nothing.
So as you can see, parents, it goes a long way to wear a mask, and it's important, especially if your child's going to be traveling on metro, or even when you go out to the market and run errands out in public spaces. It's important to understand why the CDC has been recommending the wearing of masks. It's a very important tool in this challenge and battle that we have in trying to prevent and eliminate COVID-19 spreading. So with that, I think we're gonna wind up ending the meeting. We will post this. And if you don't have any more questions, parents, then I think we're done, Miss Lee. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Again, parents and just community members, we just appreciate your support. We are definitely open to there's something that you are not, it's not quite clear. If you have any questions or if you have any suggestions, we would appreciate it. All of us have been working, I can honestly say 18, 20-hour days just to make sure that the school is safe for opening. And not only it's because we are John Burroughs Middle School because we love not only working here, but we do genuinely miss your students. So we want to make sure that we welcome them back. I know it's not going to be the most ideal environment, but we do want to make sure that everything is available and safe for all of our families and students and teachers.
Yes, thank you, parents. Appreciate it. All right, then. With that, goodbye. Have a great weekend, and hope to see you next week.